moment when you realized, my teacher is an idiot. It was second grade, Mrs. Shale's class, the kind of classroom that smelled like pencil shavings and dry erase markers. She wore those long, shapeless skirts that looked like tablecloths, and had that wiry teacher hair that moved as a unit when she turned her head too fast. She wasn't mean exactly, but she carried herself like she thought she was a little too good to be teaching kids who still forgot to tie their shoelaces. That day, we were doing some sort of word association or brainstorming activity. She stood at the front of the class with a big sheet of butcher paper taped to the whiteboard, and the words hot things written in thick black marker across the top. She said we were going to go around the room and name the hottest things we could think of. No wrong answers, she chirped, which was a lie right out the gate. First kid says, the sun. She nods enthusiastically and writes it down in big block letters. Next kid says, fire. Same thing, big smile, big letters. I raise my hand. I'm 8, but I'd read a ton of dinosaur books. Watched documentaries, played a lot of games where you jump over lava pits. I say lava. She pauses, marker in the air, and turns to look at me like I just barked. Lava? She repeats, dragging the word out like she's never heard it before. I nod, a little less confidently. Yeah, lava, like from a volcano. She makes a face, not a confused face, an amused one. Lava isn't real, she says, and actually laughs. Not a chuckle either, a full, dismissive snort laugh. I sit there confused. I've seen videos of lava, molten rock pouring down the side of volcanoes, slow and glowing and terrifying. I've seen it melt cars in science shows. I say, but it is. It comes out of volcanoes. Now she's enjoying herself. She waves her hand toward the class like a game show host. Everyone, does lava come out of volcanoes? She asks in this fake curious voice. A few kids giggle. Some look around, unsure. She doesn't wait for answers before saying, that's magma, sweetie. Lava's just pretend, like in video games. I remember going red. My face got hot. Not just embarrassed, but wronged. I knew what magma was. I just didn't have the vocabulary yet to argue. I sat there in silence while she moved on to stove and microwave and other safe answers. She never wrote down lava. The whole time, I sat there stewing in humiliation, convinced I was the dumbest kid in the room for making something up. That moment stuck with me way too long. I carried it like a scar. I second-guessed myself for years whenever I had an answer that felt too different. I stopped raising my hand as much. Started editing myself before I spoke. All because one teacher decided to take a cheap shot in front of 20 other 7 and 8-year-olds. It wasn't until maybe 5th or 6th grade that it hit me. We were learning about plate tectonics and volcanoes, and the teacher casually said something like, magma is what it's called underground, and when it erupts, it's called lava. I remember freezing. I looked around. Did anyone else hear that? It was real. Lava was real. It hit me like a delayed punch to the stomach. I hadn't been wrong. I had been exactly right. It wasn't just a matter of opinion or miscommunication. Mrs. Shale was just wrong. I'd completely, confidently, publicly wrong. And she made fun of me for knowing something she didn't understand. I told my mom that night and she just blinked at me. Of course lava's real. Why would anyone say it isn't? That was the first time I remember realizing that adults could be idiots. Not just people who didn't know everything. I'd always known that. But people who would go out of their way to act like they did, even if it meant making a kid feel stupid. After that, I started noticing it more. The little power plays. The moments where a teacher would say something with absolute certainty that wasn't quite right, but you weren't supposed to challenge them. The casual way some adults treated kids like they weren't real people yet. Like we didn't have memories or pride or facts of our own. I never got an apology. I doubt she even remembers it happened, but I do. Every time someone laughs at a weird answer, or someone's too confident about something they know nothing about, I remember sitting in that plastic chair, watching her cross out lava in her head before I even finished saying it. Turns out the hottest thing in that classroom wasn't the sun or a microwave. It was lava.